Welcome everyone. I'm recording this. So we have a Zoom going and I'm recording so that other people can get this information. If we get new connections, folks who need to be able to lead exercise at any time. I sent out a handout via email about leading exercise classes, a general outline, and then tips for leading exercise classes, and then a little worksheet, cheat sheet, if you will, that could work for you if you are ready to lead exercise for the first time and you want something to refer to. So we're going to go just right through it. I'm going to ask people to participate and say some things and move a little bit, but this is what we've got, and we have a half hour to push through. So for people who are new to leading exercise, you know what? I'm going to take this off. We can move a little further apart. New to leading exercise classes, or any class actually, you always start, there's like 5 sections, if you will. First is to welcome the participants once you get them into preferably a circle. For exercise, a circle is nice, but sometimes it's better to be in rows and you be the leader so that they can look just at you directly. So once you get that set up, once you get the residents sitting there, you want to have your props if you're going to use weights or exercise bands, anything, a balloon for balloon volleyball, anything. You want to have that ready because, as we know, especially with residents with dementia, they tend to not organize and stay when you aren't there. So you want to gather the residents, you want to have all your supplies together. Welcome everyone. Tell them what you're going to do. Today we're doing balloon volleyball. Today we're doing strength training. Whatever you want to say it. And sometimes, again, you might need to repeat yourself more frequently for some residents. The second thing is you get started with a warm-up. We encourage every class, no matter what it is, that you do a little warm-up exercise. You want to start with functional movement or a range of motion movement. So you want to think about how the shoulders move, how many different ways can you move the head. Now, you might not move in all those directions, but it's important to do something from head to toe, toe to head. Doesn't matter. You can even start with the fingers, work through the arms, and then go up, and then go down. Doesn't matter, but you have some sort of organization in your warm-up. The range of motion helps get those large muscles going and activated. Sometimes we get the heart pumping a little bit, which is good because then we get oxygen to the brain, and that helps with organization, especially for our folks with dementia. So I can't stress enough, even when I do my strength training, I always start with 5 minutes of a general warm-up, and then I go into the weights. So that's the step 3, is go into whatever exercise program you're going to do. A cardio class, a strength training, a dance class, a yoga, any kind of sports, balloon volleyball, ring toss, tossing a football, anything you want to, again, have your supplies and go into it. What I encourage you to do, especially if you're new, so for people who've been doing this for a while, hang in there. People who are new, think about what floats your boat. Think about what you enjoy doing. So if you're a big sports fan and during football season you're going to use a football for your exercise, that's great. Because as we all know, residents tune in and pick up on what works for you. And if you're excited about something, they're going to get excited about it. All right. 4th, cool down. Always finish your exercise class with a few deep breaths. If people have been through our refresh training, and we'll do a little refresh training in the future, 3 deep breaths, checking in with how you're feeling, that's it. Or just 3 deep breaths, doesn't matter. Maybe you want to end with a little stretch, it's fine. Whatever is great. Maybe you just want to sit and hang out for a little bit, that's good. And then lastly, especially again for our residents with dementia, closing and saying goodbye. They need to know that we're finished with the activity. Again, depending on where you are, You decide what's best for them. But what's nice and what we find is very helpful, especially for our residents with dementia, is that you can tell them, we're done with this activity, but in 15 minutes, lunch starts, right? Or bridge to the next activity. Come with me to the Queen Anne room, or walk with me to the Penn State room, whatever it is, just so that that transition can be helped, okay? So that's general, and again, if you've been doing activities for a long time, most of that is not new, yeah? Let's go into doing a little warm-up. So make sure you have a little space. Great. And on the Zoom, I'm not back far enough, am I? Hang on. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. Okay. Good. Toe to head, head to toe. Let's all start by tapping toes. I'm going to lead a little bit, then I'm going to ask you all to say something or do something, oh yes, that will add to it. So here's our tapping toes. Tap your heels. Sometimes this movement is too small for residents to see. So maybe you're going to need to start with something a little different. But let's keep going. How can we add? I have Darian here, and she's like, no, 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 no. Yes, yes, yes. All right. How can we add to our tapping the toes? What else could we do? Anybody?
Tapping your hands on your knees.
Good. So you can tap your toes and you can tap your hands on your lap. Wonderful. Or hands on the knees. Perfect. So here, people might not see those toes tapping as well. They will see the hands tapping. Excellent. Good. You can tap toes and heels. Toes and heels. You can even do it with the hands, right? That's a variation. Any other variations you can think of? I'll give you one. How about this one? This is tricky, but it's something you might work up to, right? Fancy footwork, toes and heels, in and out, or just in and out with the toes, right? So again, we can take something as simple as tapping the toes and build on it. Yeah? All right, so here we go. Let's go to the knees, so tapping the knees. What's a variation on tapping the knees? Anyone?
Crossing your arms.
Thank you. Is that Susan?
Yes.
Hi, Susan. Good. For new folks, again, this might be very different. For people who've been doing it for a while, this is pretty standard, right? You're taking something and building on it. Good. I'm going to switch. I'm going to say now march in place, lifting your knees. Good. How could we do a variation on this?
You could clap.
That's a lot of coordination. I love it. Every time you're, yeah, you do it. Everybody's doing it. Good. And rest. Wonderful. Wonderful. Good. So you can see where building in complexity is another way to add to it. Let's continue up the body. Let's work our spine. Let's tip side to side. Again, range of motion. We're not asking residents to go super far. We're just asking them to go to a comfortable distance with their spine. Good. Now, if a resident would say, why are we doing this? What might you say?
Stretch.
Right. We're stretching out our backs. We're waking up our back muscles. Now let's rock forward and back. And they might say, but this is crazy, or this is silly. Why are we doing that? And you might say, because we sit quite a lot, right? And so it's important that our backs get a little stretch. Good. What's the last way that the spine can move? We went side to side. We went forward and back. What's the last way? Jocelyn is moving. Twist. Good, good. Sometimes I like to identify, I put 2 hands on one leg and 2 hands on the other. So, not just a free twist, but having a place that people really can see, really concrete, is sometimes very helpful. Good. Any other variations on this theme of moving the spine as we work up the body? Any other suggestions?
I do make a fist and then open and stretch your fingers. I
Good.
do that to the right and then to the center and then to the left, and so we're twisting.
I
Maybe
love it.
3 or 4 times to the right, 3 or 4 times to the middle.
Oh, so 1, 2, 3, 4 over here?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, can I tell you I've never done this before in any of my classes, Susan? So this is a Susan move. This is perfect. Okay, I love it. Did you see how she took the twist and she added the hands, right? Makes sense? Darian is nodding her head. Good. All right. Good. Good. She thinks I'm crazy, but that's all right. I don't think we're having fun in a room by ourselves, basically. All right. So here, again, using the body, working within the range of motion, what's comfortable for them, and then adding something else. Excellent. Let's move to the shoulders. Shoulder circles. Both directions. Something else with the shoulders. Anybody? Sarah's going up and down.
Yeah.
Great. The last time I did this at Wellspring, it turned into an I don't know, right? So sometimes that adds some fun. Yeah? Good. Now let's add the elbows up and down. What might you call this?
Chicken wings.
Yeah, chicken wings. Good, good. Sometimes using images really works. All right? What else can we do with our elbows?
I like to do the arms kind of in a swimming motion while they're sitting.
Oh,
Yeah.
with the elbows?
I do with elbows, but doing arms like you're swimming too works too.
Beautiful. Okay, let's swim with our elbows. Both directions. And then Isaac was saying, let's make it bigger and use the arms. The whole arm, really working those shoulder joints. And then let's go backstroke. Working the shoulders, especially to the back, is very difficult for a lot of residents. Using the back space is often very difficult. So you might see a lot of this, right? We want to encourage the movement, so our movements can be big, even though the residents' movements might be small. We don't want to discourage them. We can encourage them, make it as big as you can. But we never want anyone to be straining. Especially women, shoulders, frozen shoulder, any kind of shoulder problems are often really common, especially for women. All right, moving on. Is there anything else? Let's finish up with the arms and hands.
We do like sit-ups, hands on shoulders, elbows to the knees.
Oh, nice. I love it. Again, Susan, this is one I've never done in my class. So
How
look,
about bringing elbows together?
bringing elbows together. Perfect.
Apart, yeah, we do that too.
Good. Lifting one knee and then the opposite. You don't have to touch the knee, just reach toward it.
Oh, I can feel that one.
Good.
That one's gonna oh, that way.
Good. And rest. Good. Now how about the neck and head?
You like head circles?
Okay, there's a little caveat there. We don't want to go the whole way around because the delicate cervical vertebrae, the neck bones, we often have deterioration in between the vertebrae and between the bones of the spine. So going back is not recommended actually for our population. So you can do side to side, Just like the movements of the spine, you can tip side to side. You can nod yes. Be very careful when you go to the back, right? You don't want to go super far, but usually a nod keeps them in a decent range, and then you can shake your head no. The circle around, which is fine for you and me, a lot of times when they get to the back, they crunch the back. So we say that that's a contraindication. We say, please don't do it. So work the neck very carefully around and stay within, again, something common. A nod, yes. A shake your head, no. A tip side to side, okay? There's very few contraindications, but that is one of them. All right, anything else you can think of that would work for a warm-up from toe to head?
Just reaching your arms. We always start out with the arms, even just one at a time. Slowly reaching up, one at a time, and then making it both hands.
Beautiful. And did you see how Susan suggested one side at a time? And then, now both arms. Raise both arms up. Good. So she's sort of warming them up, getting them used to the idea, and then building on it. Great, great. So what we did in the warm-up, we could have done that just in 5 minutes. Took us longer, of course, because we were playing with it. But you could do an entire exercise class just by going through the body like that, right? If the residents needed a little rest, you could do things like give yourself a hug or give those shoulders and arms a rub. So never hesitate, especially when you look around and you see residents going, ow, maybe they're touching their shoulders, right? You can say, all right, let's take a rest. Everybody, give those shoulders a little rub. Right? And that way, it slows it down. It gives everybody an opportunity to cool it down. Okay? So this whole idea of a warm-up can be expanded, can be built upon into a full class, or you could use just a real quick up the body or down the body and then go into a sport or another kind of exercise, whatever you'd like to do. But we encourage the warm-up. We encourage your creativity, too. So get used to it. All right. So moving on. I just want to make sure. Oops, that's yours. I think I've touched on most things for our handout on tips for leading exercise, but we'll go through. Number 1, warm up and cool down. Always work progressively through the body. We definitely encourage breathing. Oh, that's what I forgot. Warm up. Start with some deep breathing, right? Or encourage deep breaths, as a rest. Again, you can rub a shoulder, give yourself a hug. You can rest and have a few deep breaths in between exercises as a way to really get that going. Again, oxygen to the brain is crucial for our residents with dementia. So anything that gets the heart pumping and people breathing heavier is great. Again, not to the point of fatigue or exhaustion. That's where you got to use your eyes, you got to use your ears, you got to pick up on what's going on in the group. All right. Same thing in terms of the cool down, doing some quiet movements, and deep breathing is great. We talked about encouraging functional movement. So we're never going to do anything where we're going to ask people to be like a pretzel, bringing the leg over the head, right? We want to stay within what the joint can do normally. Yeah? Always show and tell the residents what you're doing. So you're going to be talking just about the whole time. So it's not just leading exercise and just having them watch. It's asking them, raise the arm up as high as you can. Keep talking as you're going. 2 hands now, right? And really encourage them. Reach for the sky, using words to help as you go. Counting is a great way. Some residents love that. They love to count, do a set of 6, set of 8, 10, whatever you like. All right, but keep talking while you show the movement. All right? definitely watch the residents, listen to the residents, know when they need some encouragement. Let's keep going. Or we have 2 more sets, whatever it is. Make it as big as you can. Good. Sorry. Offer variations. If you're seeing residents, as we're doing an arm raise, residents are really struggling and they might be doing one hand, you might want to say, you know, you can just use one arm if you want, or put 2 hands together, and sometimes that works better for the residents, to be able to support the weaker arm with their stronger arm, okay? So offering variations is really important. So that's why I wanted you to sort of play with me and come up with variations just on our warm-up, because that's the basis of what will help you. Again, using descriptive words. Open and close your fingers like blinking lights. Like Isaac said, swim, right? Use your arms to swim. Everybody has an image of that. And you don't have to say, raise your arm to the back and then bring it forward. That's a lot of words, a lot of gobbledygook for residents who don't always follow, right? So swimming arms says everything you need. Yeah? Does anybody have an example of some words that they might have used to describe movement?
I have one for when you give yourself a hug.
Yeah.
So I'll say, now give yourself a hug and love yourself, and then open up your arms and love everyone else.
I love it. So cross your arms, give yourself a hug.
It'll help you love everyone else.
And then open your arms wide and love everyone else. Beautiful. And again, those words are Susan's words. You might say, that doesn't fly for me. Then you come up with something else, right? Right? Yeah. Perfect. Repeat the exercise several times. So it's not like, okay, we're going to do this, and then, okay, now we're going to do this real quick after just 2 sets. You got to do it long enough that the whole group follows you. And again, it's different at WHIP and than it is at SNF, than it is at Wellspring. So you need to keep going long enough that you get the group with you. Okay? That's really important. Really important. Same thing with combinations. If you choose to do a combination, for example, arms forward and then out to the side. Forward and side. Notice how I'm saying the direction of my arms each time as I'm moving. Right? I keep saying it. Even though I'm on repetition number 7, I'm still saying side, front, and side. And I keep going until people get it, because they might not for a while. I love when we do opposite arm and leg. Crossing the body is crucial. Again, for brain awake and aliveness is crossing the midline of the body. So I always love twists for that reason, and across the body kind of activities. Really helps the brain. So that is one thing that I would encourage in any exercise activity, to do something that twists or goes across the body. But anyways, especially those coordinations, people are not figuring, they're doing the same arm as leg, opposite. It's really quite challenging. So it's really important that you continue to say what you're doing and to give them a chance to get it. Were you going to say something, Jocelyn?
No, I was just thinking that, sorry.
Okay, great. Mix up the exercises. If you're going to use the strength training and you only use the dumbbells and not anything on the lower body, I would encourage you to do bicep curl overhead press, do your sets, but then do a break with something for the lower body so that the upper body rests. So you want to mix it up so people don't get fatigued. You don't want to do 20 minutes of upper body and nothing else, right? You want to mix it up. Using props to help engage residents. Weights, balls, pom-poms, pool noodles, all of those can really help, especially if you have something in your hand and you're moving it. For people who have visual challenges, can really help them focus, helps people with dementia focus as well. And then lastly, people with dementia, be extra clear with your examples. Start with familiar movements. So as Susan suggested, tapping the top of the legs while tapping those toes, because they might not necessarily see it or know. Clapping hands really helps to organize a whole room of people who are maybe challenged. Organizing the brain is as important as organizing through the body. That's why we go toe to head, head to toe. And I just did my hands the opposite, didn't I? Good. And I did mention about the midline of the body. There it is. Good. The last page, like I said, is a cheat sheet, which you might not be able to see super well. No, maybe not. Whatever. But it is basically the range of motion warm-up with an open space for variation. So you can write in and use it as your cheat sheet when you lead an exercise class. Okay, we have 4 minutes left. Questions, comments, suggestions, please share, because there are people in this group who have been leading exercise classes and people who are totally new to it. So any suggestions, any thoughts?
Sometimes when I'm using the noodles, I'll have a maraca in my hand with the noodle, so that if we're doing something really upbeat, I can kind of be keeping the beat with the maraca as I go. So
Excellent.
that just kind of helps them with the rhythm.
With the rhythm. Excellent. So using the pool noodle, and Susan also uses a maraca to keep the steady beat. Wonderful. Music is extremely helpful at times to have to support you. It's kind of like a co-leader in a group, right? Sometimes that is great, whether you make the music yourself or you use music. Yeah, excellent, excellent. Anything else? No? You're all good? Ready to roll? Did that help? Okay, I got a thumbs up from Darian. All right, good. Then let's finish out our exercise class together. So, sitting tall in your chair, now that we're all warmed up, let's inhale, stretch up, and exhale, reach all the way toward your toes. Inhale up, and exhale over. One more deep breath in, and exhale over. And sit back in your chair. Take a few moments to sit back and rest. Thank you for coming to our morning exercise class. Wow, we did a lot. We did a whole warm-up going from toe to head, and then we talked about variations. And then we enjoyed hearing about some new things that people were doing, things I've never done in exercise, right? And then we finished out with 3 deep breaths and a big stretch. So there I did, in 1 minute, I summarized what happened in class, right? We're sitting, we're relaxing. If you would like to stay here for the next 15 minutes, you can. I'll put on some music, and then it'll be lunchtime, right? Or you might say, it's time to go into the Queen Anne room, so please come with me, right? Whatever. Or stay here, let's get some water. Hydrating after exercise is always a great time. So there's an option too, right? So whatever it is, there's the bridge. Good. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much, Sue.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.